Welcome to Watch, Review, Repeat. This is the podcast where two best friends discuss the latest in film and television and then do it all over again the following episode. My name is Colton Brown. With me, I think it's Andrew Meadows. I don't know.
But you can't tell, can you?
I can't tell. It might be my new companion. Could be M3GAN that I'm talking to. I don't know.
Body yaddy 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 yaddy. Oh,
I was waiting for it. I was waiting for that. I needed that.
That's got to be the fun fact. That's the fun fact for the uninitiated. I'll have to get into it. We'll get into it here in a minute.
Yeah, just a minute. Let's we're coming in hot 2023, but we don't need to come in that hot. Let's at least fuck around for like 2 minutes or something like that before we get a fun fact for the listeners. Now we got to drag this thing out. Come on. Don't you know how we do things here? No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, we're talking about M3GAN. M3GAN, some might say. But I will not. I refuse. It's M3GAN, God damn it.
It is M3GAN.
So M3GAN we shall talk about. What a way to kick off 2023. We got a boatload of shit that we talked about the last episode that we're looking forward to. And we're dipping back into January for M3GAN. And you know what? I think that's just fine. It obviously was quite the meme that it generated. Maybe that's part of your fun fact that you're going to get to shortly. But the question for this episode, I think, moving forward as we talk about the movie is it more than just a meme? So we'll get into that and some other things, obviously, on this episode. But that's what I have. So enough fucking around. What do you have for a fun fact about M3GAN?
So M3GAN, otherwise known as M3GAN, sparked a lot of memes.
That's right.
From the trailer.
Yada. Yep.
Yes,
sort of thing.
That's a popular. A lot
of mashups of her.
M3GAN the Stallion
atop the dance. Yes, M3GAN the Stallion. Exactly. That's perfect.
One popular one too is one with Taylor Swift. But for me,
that's right. For my M3GAN the Stallion, like that's just it's pitch perfect, right? I mean, it's just tailor made for that sort of thing. It's the
so
crossover
good
that we all needed.
So it's something about M3GAN really kicked off a bunch of
it was the fucking dancing is what it was. I mean, it was just so ridiculous that you couldn't help but just laugh, right?
Do you remember the first time you saw that trailer?
I mean, surely we would have talked about it on air, right? I mean, I don't know if obviously we might have seen it once or twice before we actually recorded, but I feel like, we probably would have had to talk about that trailer at some point.
I can't remember the first time I saw it, but I don't remember specifically when I first saw it. I just remember losing my shit.
I remember it blowing up,
yes.
like as it, as people kind of caught on to it. I think it got its very own reset era thread, which is how I usually find my news. From the get go is, people posting about it online, and that one transcended it was on all social medias. It was on every it's the point we might have even texted each other you see this shit, that sort of thing. Yeah, no,
good for them and their marketing though. Awesome.
Their work was done for them at that point. They put that trailer out, and the memes just kept coming, and I think
the movie was not misrepresented. We'll get into it.
I would agree with that. I think the trailer told you exactly what the movie was going to be. And I would agree with that. It was effective marketing, I think, because it made you think this looks fucking ridiculous. I bet this is entertaining. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. We'll get into it. But I do think that whatever your feelings are on the trailer, you may feel similarly about the final product. I think that might be a fair statement to make. Well, that actually brings me to what I have prepared for a fun fact, which is the fact that this obviously turned into a giant meme in terms of the dancing, in terms of its popularity, actually affected how the movie, not necessarily how it was made, but the end, it affected the final product in the sense that once upon a time, M3GAN was a rated R project that was way gorier. And in part, I think, because of the popularity, particularly amongst the TikTok generation, which I think skews a little bit younger, they made the executive decision to basically cut the film down to a PG-13 version.
Wow.
where all those middle school and high school kids could go see it, and they didn't have to convince some guy to buy him a ticket and sneak in with them, or have a parent with them, God forbid, So they could just go right in. Parental guidance is only recommended, if you're under 13. You don't need it. You don't really need it. The screenwriter Akilah Cooper basically said there will maybe be an unrated version sometime down the line because they shot some stuff that was a little bit more hardcore in the first place. And the director Gerard Johnstone said the same thing. Basically, PG-13 was a decision that they made after the fact, but he said it was kind of skirting the line anyway. Like, it was close enough to it that it didn't require a whole lot of tinkering, and it just.
But I feel like you
made sense to embrace it, because of I think the way that the marketing went. So
I don't feel like anything. I mean, you can. I think you might be able to tell what was like in retrospect after you say that, because I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I think you might be able
there's a lot of like cutaways from something that probably could have been shown on camera, kind of thing, and it's like, I don't know. I mean,
that's okay.
That's totally okay. I don't know. Some of it, I honestly think, like, to me, it didn't feel neutered or like obviously like reshot in any way. Like, to me, it felt like if this was built for the ground up to be PG-13, and I don't know, I was trying to make an M3GAN joke out of PG-13, but I didn't quite get there. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't mind it. That was what I'll say. I think that's probably a good decision. I think that both in terms of just financial success and accessibility for other people, but I also don't think it really took away. It didn't feel chopped down or anything like that to me.
Not at all.
I think it had a good runtime as it was. So anyway, that's just a little tease of things to come when we talk about M3GAN in more detail. But we do have some news. It's our first proper opportunity to talk about news in 2023. Obviously, we spent a lot of time talking about trailers and whatnot on the 2023 A Look Ahead episode. But when you know it, some things have broken since then, and some stuff that wasn't, I think, as applicable on that particular episode have also come out since. So,
question.
Yes. Oh, yes. What is your question?
Does this mark the beginning of new news per episode? Are we effectively caught up on our news?
Yeah, we're pretty much caught up. There's technically some stuff that broke today that will go into the next episode, but I'm trying to keep things short and sweet here, and by the time we record again, it might be, a week and a half, something like that. So what are the odds that 20 things have come out, but, by then? Probably unlikely. So we should, as long as we record in regular intervals, we should be keeping a good pace in terms of not getting overloaded with news, and some episodes will have some more interesting things to talk about. Some episodes we won't. I think we've got some interesting things to talk about on this one, for sure. But yeah, we're good. I think we're in a good space.
That's
right
awesome.
Now to answer your question. So with that said, let's do a few headlines that we can kind of breeze through fairly quickly. The first of which is something that I feel like we talked about a long time ago as they were doing it, but now it feels like they're really doing it. Tron Ares. We're getting a sequel to Tron Legacy, which you would think is exceptionally exciting. You might be really excited for that. Jared Leto will star in Tron Ares. It will be directed by Joachim Ronning, who most recently helmed, at least for Disney anyway, Maleficent, Mistress of Evil, the second one, and Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales, which I believe is the fifth one, the most recent one in that particular franchise. And it's more Tron. Who knows if anyone else will be involved? Will they bring back Garrett Hedlund, Olivia Wilde, Jeff Bridges? TBD. Stay tuned. But that's what we have on Tron Ares. Disney is continuing Tron in a slightly different direction, at least as far as cast and director goes. So I don't know. That's something that gets you revved up or anything?
Man, I want to be, but
it feels like a Tron sequel should be a good thing, and yet here we are, and we're like, oh.
Well, we don't have any more Daft Punk.
Well, unless if this can convince Daft Punk to reform to do another score, I don't give a fuck if Jared Leto is starring in it. I will say that. I will say that on record. That's a very good point to mention.
Yeah.
But if Daft Punk aren't involved and they get fucking Junkie XL, then fuck that. You know what I mean? Like, come on.
feel like Jared Leto wants a stab at making the fucking score. I feel like that's something he'll want to try to do.
He is a musician. Maybe he's a better musician than actor or person, but yeah.
Anyways, I can't say that I'm terribly excited about this.
Yeah, it feels like a bit of a bummer of this being the direction that it's going in. What's wrong with doing a Tron Legacy proper sequel? You know?
Yeah.
Jared Leto's gonna come in and ruin things. Come on.
Give me a just give me a trailer, I guess. But I'm not excited about it.
We'll see. Yeah, the idea does not excite me, but sure. Maybe the Tron visuals are enough to overcome the other things. Perhaps we'll see. So there's headline number 1. Headline number 2. This one's a doozy. Justin Roiland is a big ol' fuckhead, as it turns out. That's the headline. Gigantic piece of shit. Apparently, it's been somewhat known in some circles, but not widely known. But basically, the short version of this is that he was charged with domestic violence a few years ago in California, has already had court appearances for it, and then there was another court appearance that happened last month that then people became publicly aware of. And so that caused a lot of backlash, I think, against Adult Swim and everyone. He's the Rick and Morty co-creator. I don't think I said that. So,
right.
So that's his big name to fame. And he's done other shows, Solar Opposites on Hulu. And they've made Rick and Morty video games. Like, Rick and Morty is a big fucking deal, obviously. And so this all kind of came to light, and everyone's like, what the fuck? What does this mean for Rick and Morty and stuff like that? So Adult Swim came out, severed ties with him. They've ended Adult Swim has ended its association with Justin Roiland, is what they put out in a statement. And they're going to continue Rick and Morty, recasting all the voice roles that he did, which includes quite literally Rick and Morty. And I think the same thing has happened over at Hulu. No. They've cut ties with him for Solar Opposites. I guess there's another show that he's been working on called Koala Man. Same thing. Like, they're just like, fuck this guy, we're done with him. He's no longer involved with the games that, Squanch Games, which are like doing the Rick and Morty games and stuff like that. So
he co-founded that studio too.
Right. So yeah, obviously a lot of the stuff that he had a personal hand in, he is now no longer involved with. His life has quickly blown up. And I would say rightfully so. A lot of articles have come out since then, basically being like, yeah, this guy's like openly talked about how he's attracted to underage children, and like kind of like weird shit where it's just like the people that were kind of in the know weren't really surprised by any of this. It's just kind of like it was just a matter of time until shit really hit the fan. Obviously, quote unquote cancel culture and whatnot ever, like, this feels pretty fucking justified in terms of like people just being like, fuck this guy. Like, you can still like Rick and Morty, you can still enjoy Rick and Morty, and you can look forward to more Rick and Morty, and it's okay that it's someone else, that other people are going to be taking charge of it and bringing it. There's plenty of Rick and Morty impersonators that will be able to seamlessly take over his voices and stuff like that. So if you don't need this guy, in the room, I think it's going to be just fine. So there's a lot more details here that you can always look up on the internet, but I'll leave it at that. And
it's the fucking crucifixion of
yeah. Well, I mean, again, he does sound like a big old fuckhead. So I'm not broken up about it.
No,
it seems he's done this to himself, is what I would say. I mean, obviously the domestic violence charges are pretty heinous. Like, that's and it's ongoing criminal proceedings, okay, and stuff like
making
that.
The workplace a total fucking terrible place to be.
But yeah, it sounds like he's a gigantic asshole in every facet, whether it's privately or working for him. Yeah, I don't know. It just sounds like a real scumbag. So, he made a thing that's funny and people enjoy. Okay,
yeah.
That's fine. It's not a free pass. It's not a free pass. So anyway.
Love the art and not the artist, right?
Yep, I think that's a prime example right here. So anyway, that happened, and then last but not least on the headlines, we're just moving all around. I kind of had to throw that one in the middle in there. Have some good, we start with two bad things. Now we're gonna pick the energy back up with something I think that is exciting. Star Wars Visions Volume 2 is coming. It is coming May 4th of 2023, just a few months away.
Just a few months. And they announced oh shit, I got excited. I'm sorry.
It will bring 9 new shorts from 9 studios around the globe. Now, here's a wrinkle. It is no longer exclusively Japanese studios that are working on Star Wars Visions, at least for this particular volume. So, we're getting a whole bunch of studios from, quite literally, it's not like just a bunch of American studios or anything like that. Like, we're getting one called Sith from El Guiri, which is they're from Spain. We're getting one from Cartoon Saloon from Ireland, Punk Robot from Chile, Aardman from United Kingdom. Those are the fuckers that work on Wallace and Gromit. So I'm looking forward to that one. Studio Mir from South Korea, Studio La Cachette from France, 88 Pictures from India, Dart Stagio. I'm sure I said that wrong. It's a Japanese studio, so I almost certainly said that wrong. And then finally, Triggerfish from South Africa. And then the Japanese short apparently was created in collaboration with Lucasfilm, obviously US based. So titles, I said one. All we have titles, studios, and then like writer directors for these things. But I'll just say the titles of them: Sith, Screecher's Reach, and the Stars, I Am Your Mother, Journey to the Dark Head, The Spy Dancer, The Bandits of Golak, The Pit, and Ao's Song. So,
yeah, dude.
Star Wars Visions. It's happening. It's coming back. We got more on the way. It's going to be...
The last one was incredible.
Star Wars.
I'm excited.
Yeah, I mean, it was such a fun concept to see. Particularly Japanese creators, I think, just absolutely fucking go ham with like Star Wars concepts.
Looks like Studio Mir animated Voltron.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
that's cool. That's something I watched. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Man, I'm excited. I've been watching a lot of cartoons lately. Sarah's kind of been giving me a little bit of shit. But I'm getting into dad mode, watching some cartoons. I like cartoons. I have an excuse to watch more cartoons, and I'm all about it. What kind of
cartoons are you watching? Like, because I feel like there are cartoons that are for kids, and there are cartoons that are for adults, and there's cartoons that are for both.
That's right. It's just a good medium, animated medium. You know, been watching Korra.
Oh yes, okay.
And I started watching. I turned on an episode of Demon Slayer.
Okay. Yeah.
But
it was a new season, went up on Netflix
new
or something.
Season. I'm trying to figure out where. I don't know. We'll get into that in the catching up section. But definitely Korra. Been watching Korra, and I will definitely tune into this. I am all about this.
Yeah. Me too. I think this is definitely something I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see new visions. And the different sensibilities I think across the world I think will be interesting.
Yeah,
we've got a lot of Japanese sensibilities on display. Volume 1. This one I think is going to feel and look a bit different all around. So I'm excited to see the different animation styles, different stories. I think it's going to be a really interesting project.
The French studio, the ones that are doing Spy Dancer, it looks like they animated an episode on Love, Death, and Robots and fucking Primal. They animated fucking Primal, dude. Did you watch that?
No, but I know you did.
Oh my gosh. Oh, so I'm going to say this might be better than season 1. We'll see.
Could be. We'll
talk about it. Yep.
May 4th.
It's right around the fucking corner. Oh my goodness.
It'll drop on Star Wars Day exclusively on Disney+.
Hell yeah.
So there you go. All right. Why don't we transition into the top news of the week? We got just a few pieces of news here. I think the big one we're going to save for last, but we do have one trailer to talk about. It's for a movie that completely eluded our vision, I guess, on the look ahead. Didn't see it on the board of things that felt relevant to put on, the things that we're looking forward to for the year. This is a movie called Guy Ritchie's The Covenant. It's called Guy Ritchie's The Covenant. It says that in the trailer. And wouldn't you know it, it's written by Guy Ritchie and some other folks and directed by Guy Ritchie.
Jake Gyllenhaal with a flute.
It's got Jake Gyllenhaal. I'll do the fingering. It's Jake Gyllenhaal. He's at war, but he's got an interpreter, and then something happens, and he's got to go back. It's kind of the shtick that I think is happening here. So, what do you think? Are you looking forward to Guy Ritchie's The Covenant, or simply The Covenant?
I thought some of the dialogue was a little bit on the nose. Like he's talking to somebody and he's like, I've got a hook and I have to go back. I'm hooked. You know, it's just, I don't know. It did look, the story sounded compelling. I like Jake. I think he's cool. I like Guy Ritchie. I think he's cool too.
Got Homelander in there.
Yeah,
he's probably an untrustworthy fellow, or if he maybe he's gonna have to convince me that he's a trustworthy fellow. Is all I'll say, because every time I see him pop up in a project, I'm gonna think that guy's a psycho.
I do. I think this movie can be good. Will it be good? I don't know. From the trailer, it did sound like a little bit of the dialogue was a little bit on the nose. But I don't know. The premise seemed like it would be interesting. Seemed cool, you know?
Yeah. I mean, maybe this is an insult, but if you told me that this movie was coming out on Netflix in April, I would say, yes, I think that's true.
Oh, yeah, that's an apt comparison.
Kind of how I feel about it. Like, it looks fine.
It looks Netflix-ish.
But I don't know if I'm going to... I don't know if I'll need to see it in theaters just based on this.
Yeah,
you know, and
totally get it.
I'd have to revisit the calendar to see if there's some other stuff around it that might be, you know, a little bit more
kind of a packed year.
Our speed. But the other thing that I mean, really the reason I included this is like, I feel like Guy Ritchie is just fucking all over the place, like in terms of the shit that he does. Like, I mean, honestly, like if I showed you this trailer in a vacuum, I'd put the Netflix comment aside and put the fact that it literally says Guy Ritchie's The Covenant in there. Would you have any idea that this is a Guy Ritchie movie? I feel like it's missing
it doesn't seem like
it makes it feel like his kind of thing, you know?
It doesn't feel like it's written by Guy Ritchie. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Usually Guy Ritchie is real witty and fucking sharp and everything else. This dialogue here seems very bland. This seems paychecky is what this seems.
It does feel paychecky. I would agree. It doesn't feel like it has the kind of, I don't know, I guess the personal interest that it seems like he takes with a lot of those other films, or like the personal touch, I guess. You know, like even obviously, look, the man's made some shit, obviously, but like, I don't know, like even King Arthur Legend of the Sword felt fucking Guy Ritchie at times. I don't know if you saw that one, but like,
no, I didn't see that.
It was a bizarre ass kind of Guy Ritchie kind of thing. Even Aladdin had some Guy Ritchie-ish aspects to it, like almost like a scaled back Disney-fied version, I guess, in some ways. But like it, had some flourishes there. And obviously we're well outside of the realm of, British crime dramas and whatnot, but still, I don't know. Even compared to like a Sherlock, like those Sherlock movies obviously had like a real flair to them.
Man from Uncle.
It's just a Man from Uncle, Rock and Rolla, just they all have like a, I mean, again, a lot of them have just like a Britishy kind of flair to them, but like this one just feels, I don't know, something about it just doesn't feel Guy Ritchie-y. So I'm hoping the trailer's hiding something, but I don't know. Motherfucker, Guy Ritchie. Is he just taking a paycheck for this? Is he taking the piss on this one?
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe it'll be good. We'll see. I mean, it does seem like it could be a good story, but hokey dialogue, kind of just, I don't know. We'll see.
Oh, it seems like here we go. And January 22, MGM bought U.S. distribution rights to the film, planning to distribute it via their United Artists Releasing joint venture, while STX Films co-financed the film and handled the international sales. Amazon Prime Video acquired distribution rights for Europe, Australia, Canada, Latin America, South Africa, as well as
So it's going to streaming everywhere but America. Is that what you're saying?
As well as post-theatrical streaming rights in the United States.
Okay.
So it sounds like
we'll have a quick turnaround before it gets dumped on Amazon.
It was announced in October of 21 that Jake Gyllenhaal would star in the film, and then January 22 came around and all that shit with MGM and stuff happened, and then COVID happened and everything else. So, and it seems to me like a fucking streaming movie.
Yeah, well, it looks like one. So, only in theaters April, unless you're outside of the United States, in which case, Amazon Prime Video, baby.
Yep.
Anyway, that's what I have to say on that. It comes out April 21st in the States. So, again, take a look at the calendar. We'll see, but I can't say that it has, the reason maybe it didn't make the list in the first place, maybe that was for a good reason.
It might, like I said, it might be. You might be right, though. It might be just a paycheck from Amazon Prime. Hey, let's get Guy Ritchie to make a movie for us.
Right.
So, anyways,
moving on to drama in Yellowstone verse, because we spent some time talking last episode. I feel like we kind of had to include this, even though it's a franchise show that neither of us are really hip on. Obviously, it's hugely popular. People love this shit, both the Yellowstone mainline TV show as well as its spinoffs. I think currently two spinoffs. Apparently Kevin Costner is being a big old fuckhead to a lesser extent, much lesser extent than that other fuckhead we talked about already. But he's been a little stingy about certain things. So here is the deal. The initial reports were that Taylor Sheridan, who is the co-creator and showrunner of Yellowstone, and Paramount and all the Paramount companies involved in making the show, were looking to end the show in its current format, and they would basically do a, I guess, soft reboot, kind of extension of sorts to continue the storylines of the show with kind of a new lead character, I guess, anchoring it. And they were in talks with Matthew McConaughey to be the guy, to take over basically from Kevin Costner, not quite literally playing the same character, but continuing all the storylines and the same universe without a Kevin Costner involved. And so the reason that this situation arose is that I guess the way that they shoot the show is they do it in 2 blocks, and Kevin Costner basically limited himself to 65 days of shooting on this between the 2 blocks. And for the first kind of block, for the first part of the season, he said I will shoot for 50 days. And then for the second block, the second part of the season, he says, I want to shoot everything in 1 week. And
Jesus
Paramount
Christ,
and the powers that be were like,
you done bumped your fucking head, Kevin. What are you doing?
like, we can't do that. Like, you're the fucking main character on this show, dipshit. Like, we can't shoot all your shit in literally a week. Like, are you fucking kidding me?
I imagine somebody read this demand on a letter, from the agent and just fucking laughed out loud.
So, as it stands right now, Paramount put out a statement saying, we have no news to report. Kevin Costner is a big part of Yellowstone, and we hope that's the case for a long time to come. Thanks to the brilliant mind of Taylor Sheridan, we are always working on franchise expansions of this incredible world he has built. Matthew McConaughey is a phenomenal talent with whom we'd love to partner. So what it sounds like is they're hoping that Kevin falls in line. Like, hey, maybe we'll throw some more money at you and we can just get this ship righted. You can stop being a lazy piece of shit and actually work, your full schedule. Like, we already probably paying you stupid millions amounts of dollars, as it stands. So we probably shouldn't even have to pay. You could just like honor the contract that you probably signed, like saying like, I agree to work X amount of days. And that would be fair. Like, if you're talking about 65 days of shooting, and if they're doing 50 days in part 1, if he comes out and says, I'm only doing 15 days for part 2, that's what I agreed to. I think you might have a leg to stand on, but a week? Like, I don't know. Anyway, it sounds like they're making contingency plans to figure out how to move the series forward. Obviously, it's a hugely popular thing. It could probably survive the loss of a Kevin Costner and still be hugely popular beyond that. Certainly a Matthew McConaughey type, or quite literally Matthew McConaughey, I think could bring some intrigue to it. So I don't know. We'll see how the fucking shit shakes out. But some drama in the Yellowstone franchise right now. So anyway,
according to maybe theoutsider.com, maybe. Okay. According to multiple sources, that's what I'll say. Season 5 of Yellowstone pays Kevin Costner $1.3 million per episode.
Yeah, so he's doing fine.
14 episodes.
He's doing fine. I think. Personally, I think that's a fair...
Motherfucker, don't make that in a week. Come on.
Like... Yeah, he'd be filming the same amount of episodes. He'd just be filming all of his shit in 1 week. So he's still getting paid the same amount, but he only has to work for a week. So it's great. Look, if I could work for a week and get paid for
$18
my
million,
yeah, whatever the math adds up to, that seems right. Okay, I would do that too. Like, hey, I guess it's worth a try. See if they go for it. If they say yes, you're fucking golden. Your ass is on vacation for the rest of the year. I don't know. We'll see what happens with this. It's very interesting, I will say. Obviously we spent a fair amount of time talking about the Witcher drama and the Henry Cavill recasting, and we also talked about Henry Cavill for other reasons on that last episode. Yeah, we're going there again.
The fucking hair. Oh my God.
But I feel like with that one, it made me lose all interest in like ever watching the show. This drama, I'm like, you know what? I'm not so attached to Kevin Costner that as someone that has spent no time watching Yellowstone, this wouldn't kill my interest level in this show. Like if they were just like, yeah, fuck it, we're gonna kill off Kevin Costner halfway through the season, and then Matthew McConaughey is our lead character, we're like, you know what? Okay, that sounds kind of interesting, honestly, kind of interesting. So that's what I'll say about that. Again, as someone that not hip on this sort of thing, in terms of not really following along with the Yellowstone stuff, but and there's always the potential that they just sort it out, the old-fashioned way of, okay, here's more money. You have to work for another month. Sorry, dude. Sorry that these $20 million aren't enough for you anymore. Anyway, any other thoughts on that for you?
No, it's ridiculous. It's funny.
All right. Are you ready to talk about the next generation of DC in terms of film and television?
Yeah.
All right. Well, you might have seen, and our listeners can also take a look, a little YouTube video hosted by James Gunn, who was one half of the creative force behind the new DC universe, called Chapter 1, Gods and Monsters, which is what they're calling. I guess they're kind of phase 1 equivalent of the DC universe as they handle this kind of soft relaunch, reboot sort of thing with the DC universe. So we talked, reminding people of a lot of what we talked about on the last episode, but last episode we would have told you that there are fucking 4 DC films that are coming out this year. We have Shazam.
Yeah.
The Flash. Can't forget about The Flash. Blue Beetle, and then we're ending the year with Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. So there are 4 movies that are part of the old DC extended universe, and then we will be moving on from that point into this I guess, set of storytelling. Chapter 1, Gods and Monsters, with James Gunn and Peter Safran overseeing all DC film, TV, animation, and game stuff, and everything kind of being tied together in this sort of continuity and universe moving forward. And so they announced 10 projects that are going to be part of Chapter 1. James Gunn made it clear that this is not everything that will be within Chapter 1. And it also sounds like, from what he said, that The Flash will be the mechanism in which they explain how the continuity might make sense going forward.
Might explain why everybody's willing to put up with so much of his.
They might be using some timey-wimey shenanigans. You're right, exactly. It's like, shit, we're really counting on this movie as a reset. Like, the time bullshit that we've built into this movie is integral to making everything after it makes sense. So, oh fuck, we have to keep this movie on the release schedule. Yeah, we could pour another $200 million and recast Ezra and replace them in every single shot, but like, come on, how realistic is that? So yeah, they're just really riding high on the Flash as the way that they can get out of it, and maybe we'll see if Ezra continues to be the Flash beyond that movie. But certainly there's a lot of projects to talk about in terms of what the DC universe is going to look like going forward in terms of the TV and film side of things. So it's a really interesting slate, I will say. We'll go through it in order, yeah, let's do one at a time and entertain thoughts on that.
All right,
maybe. How's that? So again, this is all starting, I think, probably next year at the soonest, is what it sounds like. We'll be kicking the DC Universe Chapter 1 off with an animated show called Creature Commandos, which it has a bunch of weird fucking looking characters in it. It's a fully animated show. He said the intention is that these characters will continue into live action with the same actors playing them in both animation format and live action format, which is kind of neat, kind of interesting. And it's a show that's in production right now. It's going to have characters like Rick Flag Sr., Nina Mazursky, who was an Abe Sapien-looking woman, it would appear, Dr. Phosphorus, which is a Batman villain, Frankenstein, apparently named Eric Frankenstein in this, the Bride of Frankenstein, who's the lead character, G.I. Robot, who's like a robot soldier, and then Weasel, who we would have seen in the Suicide Squad as the absolutely fucked up looking monstrosity from that movie. So, this seems very James Gunn, is what I'll say. From the get-go, that feels like a very James Gunn thing to make.
It looks like it, too, even with the picture.
I'd be lying if I said it wasn't fucking intriguing as all hell to start with something like this out the gate. That's pretty bold. So, anyway, what do you think about Creature Commandos? Is that up your alley?
Okay, yeah. I mean, I never watched... I need to watch, Peacemaker? Is that what it is?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, I need to watch that.
Peacemaker is definitely part of the canon moving forward, and we'll get to that obviously with the next show as well. But yeah, it sounds like Peacemaker is probably a good thing to watch if you're going to be, trying to keep up to date on all the DC stuff moving forward. So yeah, starting with Creature Commandos. And then we'll be getting a live-action HBO Max series called Waller, which will be a follow-up to Peacemaker, centered around Viola Davis's Amanda Waller. They basically said it's a season 1.5 of Peacemaker cool. Between the two shows. And I think she's in Peacemaker, but not as like a main character. But this will have her as the main character. It'll have some characters from Peacemaker in it as regulars. Crystal Henry, who was a writer on the HBO Watchmen series, and Jeremy Carver, who created the Doom Patrol series, are working on this. So it seems like a pretty talented crew, and definitely something else that I'm sure James Gunn is heavily involved with. Now, we could say that about all of these. Obviously, he's heavily involved with all of these because it's kind of, this and him. It's him and Safran's kind of brainchild, to do all of these things. But it does seem like creatively he's going to have a heavy hand, I think, in a lot of all these going forward. So that's Waller. What do you think about that?
I mean, I only know Waller from Suicide Squad. Can't really speak about anything else. So we'll see.
You missed out on seeing her in Black Adam because you didn't stay for the post-credit sequence with Superman with Henry Cavill that they're definitely following up on. Fuck you.
Yeah. So I can give an opinion after I see Peacemaker since it's a part of that, I suppose.
Yeah. I've watched one episode of Peacemaker and I enjoyed it. Again, it seemed very James Gunn. So,
not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing, but I do think that to this point he's kind of had one speed with the superhero adjacent stuff, or I guess two speeds. One is the more family friendly Guardians-esque angle, and the other one is the Suicide Squad Peacemaker kind of angle. He's going to have to do more than just those two things, I think, with the DC universe to kind of make it feel diversified and I think interesting. But I think we're going to get that based on the rest of the projects that we're talking about. So we won't be getting Henry Cavill back as Superman, but we are getting a Superman movie called Superman Legacy, which is being written by James Gunn. He will maybe direct it, not an official thing, whether or not he's going to do it. It's not an origin story. It's going to focus on Superman balancing his Kryptonian heritage with his human upbringing. This is going to be coming to theaters July 11th of 2025. So it's roughly 2.5 years away. And they're considering this kind of the real launch of the DCU. Like, this is the tentpole project that really marks the new era of that. So talked a little bit about obviously him working on the Superman film. This has been kind of known for some time now. He talked about it on Twitter.
Yeah.
A little while back. So any of this new information for you? I feel like you were kind of ambivalent about it before. Do you feel the same way now, or?
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I feel about the same way. Okay. I don't think I can't think of a real Superman because I never watched any of the old school Supermans. I can't think of a good Superman movie. Yeah,
I mean, I think Man of Steel is fine, but it's not a good Superman movie at the same time.
No, because he's snapping people's necks and tearing down the city by the end of the movie. I've never seen Superman represented on screen. I mean, aside from like cartoons,
Yeah. No, that's fair. I mean, I do think the Christopher Reeve Superman, at least 1 and 2, are worthwhile. It goes off the rails as his tenure in that role continued on, but at the same time, like I think it's time for a good modern Superman, like done right. I think that if this could be it. Doesn't mean it will be, but I think it could be. There's no reason that I feel like Superman is a character, I agree, that has not been done well on the big screen in a long fucking time, and certainly not in our lifetimes, let's put it that way. Not in the way, I mean, we've been blessed with a lot of good Batmans, some bad Batmans, but a lot of good Batmans.
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason that you can't do that with Superman. I think it's a little bit of a tougher character, you know, he's a goody two-shoes kind of guy, but, like, I think it can be done. So I hope that that's what Superman Legacy is Superman finally fucking done right. Like, get your fucking mainline characters right. You get a Batman right, but then you screw the pooch on some other character.
I understand he is difficult, right? How do you make an interesting guy without? So you make a goody two shoes guy, but if you make him too conflicted, then he just becomes a depressed goody two shoes guy. Can't be Superman
right.
All goody two shoes, you know. Yeah, I mean, and if you just make him goody two shoes all the time and just fucking like his head's up in the clouds or up his ass, you know, then he's just an asshole. Then you get Homelander, you know what I mean, or whatever. It's what he. I don't know. It makes me kind of jaded on the character of Superman. How do you make that? How do you make him interesting? So we'll see.
That's the task, right? How do you do it? So we'll see. We'll see how James Gunn finds a solution for it. The next project is a TV show called Lanterns. It's going to star 2 Green Lanterns, both Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart. It's described as a True Detective type mystery with the 2 lanterns. It's a terrestrial-based mystery that will lead into the overall story that's going to be ongoing throughout the DCU in terms of the movies and TV shows. But they're basically, these guys are super cops on Precinct Earth is kind of how they're describing it. Which I think that sounds very cool. I think, you know, for all the things that the DCEU tried to do, it stayed pretty fucking far away from doing anything with Green Lanterns.
That's true.
And maybe that's because there was a lot of stink, because Green Lantern is another thing that hasn't been done right in live action in our lifetimes, although there have been far fewer attempts, to be fair.
But all of them suck really bad.
This sounds like a cool approach. I think it could work, you know. I would say not quite like a buddy cop kind of thing, but you know, you throw True Detective in there as a buzzword. Obviously, we're talking season 1 era True Detective. Otherwise, we're in trouble. But yeah, I don't know. That sounds pretty cool to me. How about you?
And I'd be lying if I knew, or if I said that I knew a whole lot about Green Lantern.
That's fair. You know, they got some rings, and you know, they can do constructs with them, Hot Wheels tracks
with their will. You know, with their will, they always seem like
their
super.
Will, yes, they need to have willpower to do it. That's right.
Yeah, and it's always super. Yeah, Hot Wheel tracks or giant fists or
a lot of giant fists going around. That's for sure.
You know, just I don't know. They're just kind of wonky characters. So whenever you throw True Detective in there, it seems kind of like almost whiplashy. Like, am I not going to get the? Which, like I said, I don't know a lot about. I'm not invested in Green Lantern, so if I get something that's not comic book accurate and like lighthearted and everything like the Green Lantern is, or maybe he's not like that at all. I don't know, but just from the idea of Green Lantern, I always think it's lighthearted stuff. You throw True Detective in there, now I'm getting a gritty Green Lantern, and then what's that look like?
I
don't know. We'll see.
We'll find out. We will find out. Next, we're going to be getting a movie called The Authority. This is another very James Gunn kind of thing of getting weird and obscure with things. These are characters from the Wildstorm imprint of comics, it was purchased by DC. I don't think it's been done in any sort of live action medium at all. So this is kind of a new territory for DC stuff. It's described as a very different kind of superhero story in that these are good-intentioned people, but they think the world is broken. The only way they can fix it is to take things into their own hands, and that means killing people, killing heads of state, changing governments, doing whatever the fuck they want to make the world better. So they're quote-unquote morally gray characters for the DCU, so, you know, it's a bit of a different flavor than, you know, your Superman, certainly should be anyway. So, you know, kind of, I don't know, seems, I don't know, maybe even Watchmen-esque in some ways, I guess. I don't really know if there's a better comparison point, but it seems neat.
Sounds interesting.
Seems interesting. It's different. It's certainly different than anything we've seen from DC, in that it's not the Justice League again.
don't know any of those characters, or he didn't listen to any characters. So I guess you just.
I don't know anything about. I've never heard of this until this announcement, is what I'll say. So I have no familiarity with this whatsoever. Truly have no idea, and I suspect that a lot of people in the same boat, or will be in the same boat of I don't know anything about this. But okay, maybe it'll be cool. So, the concept I think at least sounds kind of neat. So that's where I stand on that one. Next up, TV show, HBO Max series, live action, Paradise Lost. A Game of Thrones type story about Themyscira, aka Paradise Island, the home of the Amazons, the birthplace of Wonder Woman, and it's an origin story of this society, so it's pre the birth of Diana, before Wonder Woman comes into the story, so it's sometime in the past. So we ain't gonna get no old Valyria bullshit and a Song of Ice and Fire verse, but we'll get the old Valyrian equivalent with maybe with the birthplace of Paradise Island.
Okay.
Which presumably it's a society of only women, which I think means that will be a really interesting show to watch, because how many shows are exclusively about women? I don't know. That's kind of a neat concept. I like that idea, and we'll see how Wonder Woman, I guess, eventually fits into this storyline. But she's kind of, spoilers for the rest, she's kind of MIA for what we know about Chapter 1. So they're still obviously using the Themyscira and Wonder Woman settings without Wonder Woman. How does that work? Is Gal Gadot going to come back? I guess we'll find out. We don't know yet. So that's that. Thoughts on that before we move on?
Yeah, sounds cool. Maybe they talk about how it became a only woman society.
Maybe we'll get there.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Next up, The Brave and the Bold, a live-action film that will be the introduction of the DCU Batman, which will not be Robert Pattinson, which will not be Ben Affleck. It will be someone new, and it will be about this Batman, this iteration of Batman, and Damian Wayne as Robin, who's Batman's son, with Talia al Ghul, who was raised by the League of Assassins. He's basically a little assassin himself, a little asshole. It's going to be based off of a comic run of the same name by Grant Morrison, and it will also feature members of the Bat family. So we might get other Robins, or a Nightwing, or a Batgirl, or something. Maybe in this as well. So they're going full Bat family out the gate. A little bit more comic booky with Batman. So what does that mean for the Batman in terms of the Batman continuing with Robert Pattinson? Good news is it's happening separately. It will be part of the DC Elseworlds brand. The Batman Part 2 is happening. Full steam ahead. Matt Reeves directing. Robert Pattinson back as to star, and it will be one of these not part of the main continuity things that they're doing, like Joker Folie à Deux, lest we forget, is also coming out with Joaquin Phoenix and Lady Gaga. So the Batman Part 2 is coming out October 3rd, 2025, they announced as well. So we'll be getting the Penguin show before that, but we're getting the Batman Part 2 officially, but also The Brave and the Bold, the DCU Batman.
Does that make the Penguin show Elseworld as well?
Correct. So it'll be, it will be outside of... The Batman will be its own continuity. Everything within the Batmaniverse will be part of the Batmaniverse, which I am okay with. I think that's fine.
That's fine, yeah.
It's hard for me to see, that it's tough, because at the same time that, if you watched Iron Man, the first Iron Man in a bubble, and then you think about where you are with the Marvel, the MCU now, you're like, these kind of are pretty different. Obviously it built up from there, but things have gotten out of hand, and I kind of feel the same way about the Batman. If you have the Batman and then Superman shows up, and you have Green Lanterns running around, it's like, all right, is this getting too weird for the type of tone and film that this is? And I think the answer could be yeah, potentially.
Well, you also have to think too, how many days was it really set place in the Batman? Maybe it was just fucking fall in the Batman. You know what I mean? Or a winter or some shit. And it's really bright in Gotham sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. When it's not Halloween, it's fine.
Right. So, I don't know.
Anyway, that's how they're doing it. They're keeping them separate. So we're getting a new Batman. We're getting the Brave and the Bold. So what do you think about that? I guess
I don't know about the title. The title throws me off a little bit. The Brave and the Bold. I've never heard of this before. Seems like a weird title for the Batman.
The Young and the Restless.
Exactly. We'll see. I love Batman. I don't know anything about the comic book run either, so maybe I could look into that.
Yeah. Apparently it's quite good. At least it impressed one James Gunn. So yeah, we'll see. I'm excited to see a proper Bat family has never been done well or right. So
not on live action. Well, there was the one with Sarah Silverman. What was that one? That was pretty good. Not Sarah Silverman. God damn it, what's her name?
Oh, Batman and Robin, Alicia Silverstone.
Yeah, that's it. Yep, there's a little Bat family in there, right?
There was a little Bat family. There was a little Bat family. If Jesus Christ, there was a little Bat family in there. You are not wrong, but that was not good. It was not good, I say. Booster Gold, live action HBO Max
I'm
series.
excited about this one.
He's a loser from the future who uses his future technology to come back and be a superhero. So yeah, I think hugely popular character. People have been gunning for a Booster Gold thing in some incarnation. People are like, fuck, I can throw him in the CW, do something with them, give us something with this character. And so their wish has been granted. We're getting a Booster Gold thing. This is one of the few that's hitting the mark for you. Why is that?
I've never heard of the character, so but it just sounds like a really humorous show. This is a live action show, right? That's what this is?
Yes, this one's live action. Yep.
Yeah, live action HBO Max series. It seems like a very funny thing that could happen here. So excited about it.
All right. Next one is a live action film called Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, based off of a recent run in the comics by Tom King, and it's another take on Supergirl. Basically, the way it's described is that Superman was sent to Earth, raised by loving parents. Kara was on Krypton. She was on a piece of Krypton that drifted away from the planet. She lived there for the first 14 of her lives in a horrible situation where she watched everyone around her die. So this is a much harsher and more fucked up Supergirl than you've been used to thus far, and that's kind of the thrust of this Supergirl. She's a little more hardened, certainly than the CW counterpart, and we'll see, I guess, how she compares to the Supergirl that we're going to get in the Flash, which I assume will be another iteration of Supergirl. So yeah, is that cool? You like that? Dig that?
Yeah, it sounds really good. Actually, I'm really.
It sounds interesting. I think it sounds like a nice reinvention of how is this character different from Superman, and I think that's a good way to distinguish it. Is if you do Superman right in the first place, then you can do Supergirl in a different way, and I think that it makes them feel like not just carbon copies of each other, right? So yeah, I like that. But last but not least, and perhaps not quite literally last in Chapter 1, as this is just part of Chapter 1, just the first 10 projects they've announced that are part of it, a live-action movie, Swamp Thing. All right?
Yes.
I know it's not Constantine, but it's fucking Swamp Thing. I feel like this has got to be up your alley.
It is definitely up my alley.
Okay.
I was all about the show. I'm all about the comics on Swamp Thing.
That's right. I forgot about the show.
Super, super, super cool character. Really like Swamp Thing. So very excited about this.
It's a film that will investigate the dark origins of Swamp Thing. I think James Gunn has said that the Alan Moore run of Swamp Thing is one of the runs that will heavily inspire the show, or the movie, rather.
Spectacular. So good. That's what I read anyway.
So one follow-on to that is that I think within just a few days of all this stuff coming out, rumors, well, it's not really rumors, it's just not official yet. He's in talks to direct. James Mangold is in talks to direct Swamp Thing. He's putting the finishing touches on Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny right now, but prior to that, he was doing Ford v Ferrari, he was doing Logan.
Logan!
And so he's doing Swamp Thing. So I don't know what that. I was just startled. I don't know what I'm doing. I've lost it. He's in a swamp. But yeah, that's what he's up to. So that's the word on the street, is that he's going to be taking the reins on Swamp Thing, the film Swamp Thing. So it's pretty twisted
origin for Swamp Thing.
Okay,
it's a pretty fucking
hard.
tragic character. Yeah.
Okay,
it's pretty rough.
Wasn't always a Swamp Thing, you might say?
No, definitely not. Definitely not always a Swamp Thing. Almost
right.
a little bit Dr. Manhattan-ish a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, that's a hell of an origin story too, so.
Yeah, that's pretty rough. Sucks. God, sucks.
Yeah. So there you have it. One other note is that there was a rumor that maybe Jason Momoa was going to not be Aquaman and maybe play the character of Lobo moving forward in the DCU. Yeah. And they have remained mum on that. They basically said we're going to see how Aquaman does and kind of reevaluate, but he's only going to play one role. So he's not going to be pulling double duty. But we'll see. Maybe his days as Aquaman are numbered. Maybe they're not. Stay tuned on that front. I think that's an interesting note because, Lobo feels like a good character for Jason Momoa, which isn't to say that I dislike him as Aquaman or anything like that, but I think he'd be a good fucking Lobo if it came to it. So there you have it. Yeah, Chapter 1, Gods and Monsters. It's a lot of variety in there, I think for sure. But
feels like a lot of James Gunn though. A lot of team ups.
It does feel. It feels like a lot of James Gunn. And hey,
that's what I mean.
Maybe it sounds better than what we've gotten to this point. Man of Steel on. I think anyway. I mean, yes, it's different, but
what he says is in the video announcement. First and foremost, our primary objective is storytelling. Mm-hmm. We want to tell good stories. That's on the forefront. So yeah, I mean, if you're telling good stories, man. That's all we want is good stories. You can do weird shit. You can get out there with it. It's just about doing all these things right, Yeah, everyone knows who the fuck Superman is. Just give us a movie where you do it right. And you know what? I don't know who the hell the Authority are, but you make a good movie about them and I'll be interested. And that is what it is at the end of the day, right? Is come up with good stories, tell them the right way, hire people that can bring them to life in the right way. Don't hire Chris Pratt as Booster Gold. I've already seen too many fan manips of it, and it makes me mad. So don't do that. Booster Gold. Gotta look it up.
I don't need it, is what I'm saying. I don't want it, is what I'm also saying. But I am intrigued by all of this. I wouldn't say that this announcement has left me jazzed and excited in the way that obviously like Marvel coming out and, Avengers, the Kang Dynasty and Avengers, the Secret Wars, like that gets me hyped because I trust Kevin Feige and I trust the folks over at Marvel Studios, like to know what they're doing, that, giving us this path to the Avengers, going in this direction is really interesting. This, we don't know a whole lot. They have to earn our trust, I think right now is kind of where I stand with it. But James Gunn is, I think, a really creative and interesting filmmaker, and I'm excited to see what he brings to the table in terms of shepherding the DC universe for at least the next few years, and hopefully longer than that. Otherwise, we're due for another reboot at some point. When The Flash 2 comes out, they're like, yeah, we're going to chuck all that shit out again. So anyway, that's what I have to say on that. Any other thoughts on that? Thoughts on Chris Pratt as Booster Gold? If you found any pictures,
yeah.
It's relentless, man. It's relentless.
I hear everybody saying there's no way he's not Booster Gold. Like he's built for this fucking role.
He's Mario. He's too busy. He's too busy being Mario. Come on. All right. Any other overall thoughts for you?
No.
Chapter 1.
That's it.
Gods and
Monsters.
Monsters.
That's all I got.
All right. Well, I think it's time to talk about M3GAN. Are you ready to talk about M3GAN?
Body yaddy 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 yaddy. Yes. Definitely.
M3GAN, currently in theaters, has been in theaters for some time, about a month or so, but it's still there. Also now available, video on demand. I think it's $20 to rent, $25 to purchase, to put it in your digital library. It's a film written by Akela Cooper, directed by Gerard Johnstone, stars Allison Williams, Violet McGraw, Ronnie Chang, and Amy Donald / Jenna Davis as M3GAN. Amy Donald does the physical performance, and Jenna Davis does the voice of M3GAN.
Fascinating.
It's an artificially intelligent doll who develops self-awareness and becomes hostile towards anyone who comes between her and her human companion. That's what M3GAN's about, aka just watch the trailer. It's what you need to know in terms of what to expect, as we talked about. Now, let's do a quick box office breakdown, if you wouldn't mind.
Wah, wah.
Yaddy, 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 yaddy.
Body yada yada box office.
Body yada yada box office. Jesus Christ, box office breakdown. There you go. Body yada
spiraling.
M3GAN. Well, the kids turned out for it, is what I'll say. It was just an unfortunate casualty of finishing second place to what else? Avatar: The Way of Water in its opening weekend. But it brought in $30.4 million. Pretty fucking good. $18.3 million the next weekend. It stands right now at $88.1 million in the United States.
It's fucking
in
bonkers.
Canada,
It's excellent.
$161 million worldwide. And this is like a Blumhouse, so I'm guessing like a $12 million budget. This movie's doing fine. This movie's doing great.
Killing it.
More than just a meme, at least in terms of the box office success, I would say. But what about on other fronts? Would you say that you enjoyed M3GAN? How did you feel about M3GAN? Tell me about it.
So much in the way that M3GAN was self-aware, the film itself was self-aware of what it was.
I think it's a very tongue-in-cheek kind of movie.
Yes, very campy. It was a lot of fun. This was a lot of fun. I had a really good time watching this movie. I think that it's obvious. It's very predictable. I knew what I was getting when I turned it on. Kudos to the marketing. First and foremost, marketing team absolutely slayed this movie. They set expectations where they need to be. Obviously, they made it a wild internet, not success, but they made it viral, right?
Yeah, no, this shit went viral. Yeah, no, totally.
Became a viral success. It's incredible what the marketing team did on this movie. But as far as setting expectations where they needed to be, they set the crosshairs on exactly what this movie was. They understood the movie. The creators understood the movie. They understood the writing, everything.
They understood the assignment.
Exactly. All parties understood the assignment. Everybody involved in the project. And, when people understand what they're doing, I guess, it makes it easy to make a good product. Everybody is on the same page.
Yeah.
And so, anyways, Ronnie Chang.
Chang. Yeah.
Is absolutely fucking hysterical. He's hilarious. Even Megan was absolutely hysterical. I mean, just all the time I was laughing. This movie is fucking funny.
They did such a great job of making her very expressive in terms of just like the animatronics that they used, and so it's I think it was a gift that you might have sent me. There's a sequence where she gets into a bit of a tussle with the dog at one point, and she just props up quickly, and her hair is all fucked up. But she just like there's almost inherent physical comedy just from the way that they do. Like how she looks, how she's made up in certain scenes and stuff like that. I think it's really good stuff. And
just the way they shoot her, it's oh man, it's so funny. It's gold. I mean, because she's probably like a 4.5 foot doll, maybe 5 foot at the absolute most. I feel like she's under 5 foot.
She's like 4 feet something maybe.
Yeah, right. And so there's this like 6 foot fence that she gets in the tussle in between the fence line with the dog. But for some reason she pops up like fucking Home Improvement neighbor style and stares down the neighbor with her fucking crazy hair. It's hilarious. And there's a sequence with her sitting on like this on this deck with all these dolls, and she's just fucking It's man, they like I said, everybody involved understood the assignment. It's not there's no real jump scares. It's more like principle. Like, is it scary? It's horror in context. It's horror in concept, like conceptually,
thematically, yeah.
But it's in execution, it's a very campy experience. It's a lot of fun. It's Evil Dead. It's Evil Dead, I guess, 2. It's Evil Dead 2, I guess. Yeah, is probably a good comparison.
Yeah. Maybe occasionally riding the line with Army of Darkness too.
Right, exactly. It's just a self-aware, campy film, and I feel like maybe they're made more frequently than like this is a like mainstream film. Obviously, it's a viral success. So these kind of movies, if they are made, they're not main stage kind of movies, mainstream movies like this is. And B, they're nowhere near as successful as this movie is. So I think this is going to be, personally, I think this is probably going to grow to be a classic film. I mean, this is I think it's going
to be a rewatchable film for sure.
Absolutely. I think it's PG-13. It's watchable across. I mean, I'm doing air quotations. I think it's a multi-age movie. Everybody can enjoy this film.
Yeah.
It's like I said, I think it's going to end up being a very important film for the horror genre. Absolutely nailed it. I really loved this movie. I think it was really, really, really well done.
Yeah, I totally agree. And it's funny. I was reading, discussions about this movie, and someone brought up the similarities with the Chucky remake that they did a few years ago, and I had to rack my brain. And I looked up that movie and read through the plot synopsis, and there's a lot of similarities. Like it's like an AI-driven doll goes mad, starts doing bad things, whatever kind of thing. And the first thing that came into my head was like, I don't fucking remember anything about that movie. I don't remember a goddamn thing about that movie. Like I was reading through the whole plot synopsis, and I'm like, I don't remember any of this. M3GAN is fucking memorable as all hell. I just feel like it's almost like, even if there are some similarities, and I read it, basically this movie was in production. It was one of those classic things where one was already being made, but the other one kind of beat it to the punch in terms of getting out to, actually being released and sort of thing. But I just think that this did it so well, like relative to that particularly, but just also in general. I don't know. This is a memorable film. People will remember M3GAN. Yes, because it went viral. Yes, because it was a fucking meme, the dancing and stuff. But I think the people that actually sit down and watch this movie, that took this movie in, are going to look back and think that movie was fun as hell to watch, because it was. It's a snappy movie. It's like 100 minutes. That's great. This is not a highbrow concept that needs a 3-hour movie.
Right. Yeah.
It gets in, sets things up. And it does everything with this tongue-in-cheek, horror comedy lens, which is, I think, just perfect for something as ridiculous as this. Like it has to be that. You can't make the same movie and do it as seriously. And I just think it would be so much less effective if it was trying to do this as a straight horror, or even as a straight comedy. Like you have to really kind of ride that line to be as effective as it is, because like there are moments in this where like M3GAN is genuinely just fucking unsettling as hell. Like obviously she's unsettling to look at because it's just basically intentional uncanny valley types of shit with how they made her and how they designed her. But there are moments where it's just like, okay, like, oh, shit's getting fucked. And a lot of it is almost like AI gone rogue is kind of the more, like, the scarier aspect, so much as this 4-foot doll robot, chasing after me. Like, that's the less scary part. The scarier part is kind of the implications of a lot of, like, what the movie's about. So, I enjoyed the hell out of M3GAN. I thought it was a blast. I was happy as a peach to just sit there from minute one to the end. Hats off to Akilah Cooper, who wrote it, Gerard Johnstone, who directed it. I thought that understanding the assignment. They all understood the assignment. I fully agree with that. I mean, that's just how I felt about it. Like, yeah, it's ridiculous. Yes, it's over the top. Yes, it's silly, but that's why it's so good. You know what I mean? Okay, it's not going to set the world on fire. It's not the best movie ever made, but I'll be damned if I, find something even in the near future that's as fun as this. Like, oh, I'm really looking forward to Ant-Man, and I expect good things out of Ant-Man, but M3GAN is just like, I don't know. It's just...
They don't get made often.
it's just, I think that's what it is I'll get a Marvel movie a few times a year. I won't get an M3GAN every year. I won't get something that manages to find this balance, to strike this balance so well.
My comparison was Evil Dead 2 and
we were going back a few years. Army of Darkness. That's
you got to go way. You got to go way back. You know, not to say that there's not other well-made. I mean, I guess you have. We talked. Shaun of the Dead, I guess, is another one.
Yeah, sure.
A lot of fun. But I mean, even that's more straight up comedy-ish than
almost
this
like
is. I mean,
this is almost straight up horror, but again made with the idea that it's not meant to be fully taken seriously. I don't know. I just really enjoyed it. I think it did a really nice job of just hitting on the AI components of it, but also child losing a parent, and then kind of this person whose whole life is their work kind of getting upended by having to have this added responsibility of taking on a kid that she didn't necessarily want or ever anticipate having. So like I thought, what does it mean to have like a parental relationship? Like I think thematically it still hit on some really interesting things, even though it is all under this umbrella of a fucking ridiculous movie about a killer robot kind of thing. I don't know. Like I think it's more than just that, but at the same time you can also just enjoy it for being exactly what is advertised, right?
Totally.
I had a hell of a time with M3GAN. I'm glad I watched it. I'm glad I watched it. I really am glad I watched it. I'm glad that we went back and covered it, or / are covering it right now.
Yes.
But like it came out a month ago, and I think if we were a little busier in our lives, whatever, this could have been one that kind of could have fallen to the bottom of the pile, and we might not have even watched it at all this year. And this is one where I'm like, I'm glad that this movie got memed to death to the point where it was on our radar, to the point where we're like, you know what, there's nothing else that's out right now that
and I think
we totally need to cover. Let's go back and watch M3GAN. And we fucking did
I think it was
worth it.
I think it also helped, not only was it a giant meme, but then once it came out, because you see the trailers and stuff, and you're like, okay, what is this thing, first of all? But second of all, there's no way that this is it can't be any good, and
right. Yeah.
It got universally praised.
But right. It's not a joke. It did. We're not you're not offering some sort of crazy take on this. Obviously it's gotten quite good reviews, again, with like all the same kind of things of basically being like, yeah, it's silly and ridiculous, but that's kind of what it was going for, and it succeeded with flying colors at that sort of thing. So yeah.
You want to give your quick review about M3GAN, and Colton can chop it out and put it in there? Sarah thought it was good.
Sarah thought M3GAN was good. She enjoyed it.
Yeah, but she did this. I thought it was good.
All right, so not a
nothing special.
Nothing special. I don't know. I think it's pretty special myself. I think M3GAN's found her next target, unfortunately for you, my good sir. Just don't let her hear you saying that.
Right?
Could be bad. But yeah, that's what I think I have on, at least non-spoilers for M3GAN, which brings us to recommendation. So where do you stand? M3GAN. It's 2023. Are we just going to fully go back to the old theatrical types of recommendations that we used to? We were doing a hybrid system for a while there last year. So I don't know. What do you want to do? Are we ready?
I feel like I think we're ready to kind of like.
Want to go back? Are we back to normal?
I think we're back to. I think we can. I mean, there's still. This is like a double deal, right? So it's still in theaters and it's in VOD.
That's true. It is kind of both right now. So I guess we could go with the hybrid system. It might be appropriate. It's not. People have the option to watch this at home. So.
I mean, given the option, I would have watched it. I watched it at home.
Okay.
But given the quality of this film,
you think it fits?
It fits
the go see it in theaters.
Go see it in theaters recommendation. Yeah, for sure.
Of which as a reminder, since it's been some time, highest that we used to offer for films was go see it in theaters, followed by, watch it on 4K, Blu-ray, that sort of thing. Then it was wait for streaming, and then it was wait for someone to pay you to watch it. So you think it's a go see in theaters kind of movie, even if you didn't quite literally go see it in theaters. Even if you are just going to watch it from the comfort of your own home, it's the type of movie that you should see in theaters.
Yeah, and I think
would be worthwhile in theaters.
To go a little deeper into our recommendations, right? In theaters is usually reserved for experiences or the biggest, loudest. You benefit from having the extra hardware that's at the movie theater,
sure,
or to experience it with a group of other people. And conceptually, I guess you're spending money and you're having to go outside of the comfort of your home to enjoy this media. 4K Blu-ray, you're spending your money on this thing because you're buying it, but you can experience it from the comfort of your own home, and you don't necessarily benefit from the experience of a theater. Streaming, you're already paying for it, and you just happen to pick it up because you're already paying for it, and it happens to be there.
It's a real Covenant kind of movie, is what you're saying.
Right. And then pay to watch is obviously terrible enough to where, listen, somebody needs to pay me to take my time and watch this thing. Which is
exceedingly rare for us to bust that one out, but Hellboy and A Wrinkle in Time are still out there.
We still done it before. Across them, yeah. So yeah, for me, in theaters is definitely this would have been especially fun to watch. I feel like,
I think, yeah. So I saw it. I did see it in theaters, but I saw it on a Tuesday afternoon. Okay, but I think opening weekend this would have been really fun to watch. I think with an audience. I would think
absolutely. I think so too. So I it's unfortunate that I missed out on that, but at the same time, I'm glad I watched it, and I do give it a theater recommendation. So
yep, me too. Definitely go see it in theaters. AKA, it's worthy of a watch of seeing in theaters. Yes, this one's kind of a weird one because we're a month in, so maybe it's not literally in theaters near you, or you'd rather watch it from the comforts of your own home. But what I will say is the VOD is not cheap. It's $20 to rent, $25 to buy. I say throw down those extra $5. You're going to want to watch it more, at least twice. And it's in your lifetime you'll watch it at least twice. It will be worth those extra $5 because M3GAN is going to keep you relentlessly entertained. And I think that $20 for a rental, that's selling it short. That's what I think.
I think so. Yeah.
So go see it in theaters / buy it on VOD because you're going to watch it sometime. Maybe not again this year, but maybe next year. Maybe next year you might fire up.
It'll definitely be a Halloween watch, I feel like. Definitely.
Maybe you'll fire it up before M3GAN 2.0 comes out.
Oh, what?
We'll talk about that.
M4GAN?
M5GAN.
Yeah.
2 M3GAN, 2 M3Furious.
The end of the road ends.
The end of the road ends, that's right. Fucking hell. Full spoilers for M3GAN. Yeah, I mean, we don't have to hold back anymore. We could talk about all the deaths.
Rip that fucking kid's ear off.
She ripped that fucking kid's ear off. And then the cop came back later laughing about it, which, to be fair, that cop understood the assignment. He's like, this is kind of fucking funny. And what I will say is, M3GAN's attacks were mostly pretty justified overall. I mean, some of them were certainly, obviously the dog was kind of annoying, but it was really the neighbor who was on my shit list. I don't blame dogs for
she took care of the lady too with fucking a pressure washer.
She fucking pesticided her. She pressure washed her to death as well. I felt bad for the dog. The dog just runs through a hole. I get it. The dog wants to run through a hole. If Obi was in that situation, he'd just run through that hole all the time, and I wouldn't blame him for it. So I felt bad for the dog, but I didn't feel bad for the owner.
And I liked how is it Gemma? Is that her name?
Yeah. That's the.
I like how Gemma was just completely there was no She's just shitty to that neighbor the whole time too, right? There's no love between the fucking neighbors.
Yeah, it's just like don't put your fucking sediment on my driveway, fucking bitch.
Yeah, right. It's just they're just shitty to each other. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh, man. And that was another thing, too. I like how Gemma's like... She's a pretty hateable character. You know what I mean?
Yeah, she's not a sympathetic, like, protagonist in the sense that, like,
no.
She's just a workaholic and she has no idea how to form an emotional, like, relationship with her niece. She does not. She's like, I don't fucking know what to do. Oh, I know what I'll do. I'll use this prototype fucking doll that is designed for this sort of thing. And, like, she'll be like a sort of parental figure that will help kind of fill this void, you know, left behind because their parents were, you know, murdered in this awful, well, not murdered, I guess, you know, killed in an accident in a really tragic, awful situation. Which honestly kind of, you know, it felt kind of realistic. Like some people are just like not equipped to deal with children. And I don't know, I thought they did a good job of kind of dealing with that. And then, but I think it also made a lot of sense where like, this is the type of person who would think this was a good idea from the get-go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that actually kind of made sense, like, in universe, that, like, oh, it wasn't just like, oh, well, she's sad, I'll just get her, like, you know, like, no, she's like, well, yes, she's sad, but also I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing. I guess this is a good idea. Let's see how it goes. Even though literally, like, within 10 minutes of this movie, M3GAN's already being creepy, her face is melting from the fucking, you know, shit going haywire and stuff. And it's like, this already all feels like a bad idea. Shut it down. You know, Ronnie Cheng comes in and says, shut this shit down. Loved Ronnie Cheng in this movie. I thought he was great. Hilarious CEO. He's one of those where I'm just like, I mean, he was kind of like annoying and like, you know, like a douchey CEO kind of guy, but I don't know that he necessarily deserved to get killed or anything like that. Like, if anything, M3GAN should have wanted the product launch to go great, because then she could infinitely, you know, probably, you know, jump consciousness from one M3GAN to another. You know, and maybe that's where like the sequel could go, but like I don't know, like it just kind of feels like she kind of screwed herself by killing him.
All right, fucking Bruce, you know, Bruce the
what's the Hugh Jackman movie, Real Steel, kind of, you know.
Yeah. Where
they have
to like crunch their fists together, to activate Bruce.
Yeah. I will say, as soon as Bruce entered the picture, and I said, if Bruce doesn't come back around later in this movie, I'm gonna be fucking upset.
I knew it. I called it from the beginning. Bruce is gonna tear Megan apart.
It was set up for it. And I would say, like, okay, yeah, maybe it's predictable. And you call this movie predictable. Yeah, it's fucking predictable.
No, it's great,
though. Think it's
awesome.
Going to be? Like, of course it's predictable. If you don't want it to be predictable, like, you're not here for the right reasons. You know what I mean?
But I got what I wanted. Like, I wanted Bruce to fight Megan.
I wanted M3GAN versus Bruce. And it was Bruce being piloted by fucking Katie, which was great, you know? Like, the kids going to town.
And just
fucking ripping M3GAN in half. Throws her across the room. It was glorious stuff. That was awesome. No, I love seeing M3GAN versus Bruce.
What else was there? There was the ear that got pulled off. We got the Bruce fight. The dog fence scene was fucking hilarious.
Oh yeah. Just the way that she popped up was incredible.
The asshole kid that got his ear ripped off was pretty funny too. Like, you get the mom, oh, this place is wonderful, you know, the kids love being out here at the mushrooms, and hey Johnny, don't forget to fuck off. The kids, they just say the damnedest things. That was so funny. It was, I don't know. I personally think this is it's kind of a perfect movie, really. I can't really find any shortcomings with it, really.
It's exactly what it was intended to be. You know, like, they set out to make a very specific thing.
And they
nailed it. They fucking nailed it. You know, they really did. Like, I don't know, like, even the fake commercial in the beginning was, like, fun as hell. Like, I don't know. Like,
Sarah was completely fooled by it. She goes, oh, man, there's going to be ads in this? Where are you watching this on?
See? I mean, it was a pitch perfect, like, recreation of fucking old school ads of shit like that. Like,
it's like a Furby.
Furby, basically, is kind of what I was getting, like a more advanced Furby that shits out pellets every now and then.
Feed it digital food until it shits itself.
I don't know. Man, I enjoyed the hell out of.
Oh, and she takes her.
Goodness.
I thought about the pops. Like, I gave the neighbor's kid a pop one time.
Oh, the collectible thing.
He, like, stretched its head all out, and I just had to stare at, you know. And
she's like, well, it's not meant to be rolled around. Like, it's not a ball. It does more than that. And she's like, why don't you shut the fuck up? Actually, stay in your fucking lane. I thought that therapist was a goner. I wouldn't be surprised if that was a cut. That was an unrated inclusion where that therapist got fucking mauled at some point. But anyway.
She took like a razor blade knife to the box with the ball and just like mauled the box open to get the ball out. So funny.
Oh man,
that's great. There's not a lot of spoilers though. Just funny. Yeah,
a
lot
of people get killed, and and M3GAN being fucking ridiculous. Honestly, it's just
truly terrifying moment when the guy in the elevator who's like whimpering, he's down in the corner, and he's like, "Well, why wouldn't you kill him?" And she's like going to frame him for murder with the thing, and then, well, she killed him, I guess. So, yeah. Anyways, that's all I got. That was pretty terrifying, though.
That was good. Well, what preceded that moment was the dance sequence.
Oh, the body yaddy. Yeah,
that's where it went down. I got to say, walking in, I'm like, all right. I mean, obviously, it was M3GAN the Stallion was just a meme or whatever. But if they actually did it in the movie, I would be very fucking happy. They didn't. They did not do that. But the song they played during the dancing sequence, I thought was fucking awesome. I have no idea what the song, I didn't know what it was. I looked it up. It's Walk the Night by Scat Bros. But it's just like this fucking rappy kind of I don't know, weird fucking thing where I'm just like, this is such a very specific vibe. And the way that she's dancing to it is honestly made it even more hilarious. The whole dancing, I was ready to be like, what are they going to actually do in this movie in terms of how they do that sequence, how they integrate it, what's the reasoning for it? She's doing it as kind of like a weird distraction thing, which was fun. But then the song itself just made the whole scene just glorious, just fucking glorious.
It was pretty great. Ronnie Chang running through the fucking through the hallways.
Oh man,
it is scat. Yeah, Walk the Night. I'm listening to the song.
Yeah, there's a part in it where it gets a little bit more talky, and I feel like that's where the dance part actually happens, which I thought was awesome.
Very, and it's just kind of just unnerving and kind of creepy, but hilarious at the same time.
Yeah, kind of like the movie. It's just a mood. Like the movie in a nutshell. Yeah, vibes, baby, vibes. I had a hell of a time with M3GAN. I've said it already, and I'm going to say it right now again. Just glorious, beautiful fun. 100 minutes of fun. I'm gonna fucking buy M3GAN on 4K. That's what I'm gonna do when it comes out. I'm buying M3GAN. M3GAN's going that. He's gonna go. It's going in that collection, and I'm gonna fire it up from time to time because I don't know. I just
lots of laughs, a lot of fun.
A lot of laughs, lots of fun. 2023 is off to a good start. So.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. 23 is off to a good start. So
I feel good about our decision to go back with M3GAN. Just go check it out. Go look at some GIFs. Even if they're spoilery, they're fucking hilarious. Just the way just all about the way they did it with her was just. It was awesome. It was awesome. So that's what I have to say on that. Any other thoughts for you on M3GAN?
That's all I got.
All right. Well, I have a very, very brief edition of the Listener's Corner.
Oh, wow. What do we got?
To hear about that. So Bruce Brown took a listen to our 2023 A Look Ahead episode, and he sent in some thoughts about things that came up in the span of that episode. So he first said that White Lotus is excellent, because that was something that you asked about. Mm-hmm. And he also says that Ted Lasso is a must-watch, and that he and my mom loved it. So, two little things for you.
Okay, very nice.
I definitely want to go in on Ted Lasso for sure. I think that's a priority, especially once the marketing for the new season comes out in full force. And White Lotus, I don't know. I mean, it just feels, I don't know. I think I probably enjoy it. I'm just, both seasons definitely. So I don't know. Maybe I'll give it a go at some point. I've got a lot of TV shows right now that I'm trying to work through. I'll talk about that in a little bit of time. So we'll see. Maybe it'll slide in somewhere. We'll see. So what have you been up to? You talked about already. Korra, Demon Slayer, but we'll talk about those. Some other things maybe. What's
Korra. Probably like 8 or 9 episodes into Korra. Korra is very good. I really like Korra. it's set I guess 3 generations into the future, I guess.
Right, because it's got a bit of a distance from
from Aang.
Of Avatar. Yeah, right. Yeah.
And so about 3 generations into the future, at least from my limited knowledge on the stuff. And it's kind of steampunky a little bit more so than I guess more historical than the first one was. The first one was just a little bit further back. Anyways, it's really cool. I really like it. The animation's really cool too. Like they intertwined some like 3D stuff, and it's really well done. Characters are charming, and a lot of fun. Really cool to watch. Really enjoy it. I had a water main. My water main for the house, the pipe that goes into the house, it broke. So I spent like 3 days trying to fix that. I had to like take a chisel, like a concrete chisel, and like a sledgehammer and bust into the wall and shit. But I fixed it, so that's cool.
All on your own, all by your lonesome.
Me and the neighbor, Luigi. Luigi, he helped dig some holes and stuff, and we ended up fixing it, so that's cool.
It's where it's helpful to have a good neighbor. Unlike the one in M3GAN, is what you're saying.
Well, it was so funny. The HOA lady, the lady that works for the HOA company.
There is a neighbor like that. That's what it sounds like.
The actual the homeowner association company, the property management company, came by while Luigi and I were like working in the yard, and she wanted to take a picture of my weeds. And I haven't had, and it was the same day that a new guy was supposed to come out and quote the house for my like lawn maintenance. And she's like, this is really kind of awkward, but I need to take a picture of your weeds. I was like, well, here they are. Be my guest. Here's all the weeds. And that was the day the water broke. Anyway, so in that, Luigi agreed to do my my yard. So the neighbor's doing my yard maintenance and stuff. So, and he's far more capable than me. He's firefighter. He's in shape. He's all about it. So
seems cool. Like a sweet deal.
Yeah, anyways, I ended up chiseling the wall and fixing the pipe and that sort of stuff, and getting a water gauge to test my water pressure and stuff. So that's cool. But in my travels back and forth to the Lowe's seeking pipes and everything, I found a PS5 with God of War at the GameStop.
Just on the side of the road. Oh, at the GameStop. Oh, yes. Okay.
I'd like to think that I really caught something special, but it seems like PlayStation's not in a shortage of PS5s anymore because they're just everywhere now.
No, I think they're still hard to find. I mean, I think it might be geographically dependent. Like you may have better luck closer to where you are than some other. But I think they're not plentiful is my understanding.
Wow.
Still.
Okay.
So you still have to kind of go hunting for them if you're really trying to land one. So
they're like 3 at Walmart. They said they had, because I asked them, I said, do I need to buy this right now, or do I have time to go home and grab my stuff and bring it back? Because I mean, if you only have one, I'll just go ahead and buy it. No, they said no, we got plenty of them. So I ran home, I grabbed my PS4 Pro and my Xbox, and I got pennies for them, but I traded them in on my now PS5, which is cool. Makes me happy. I've been playing some God of War with Sarah, thinking about getting the Crash Bandicoot game. We like playing Crash Bandicoot together. And it's a really fucking nice console. One of the coolest things is I can stream it to my phone and my computer and fucking play it, and it works really well.
Nice. I've never done that with mine. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, that's really awesome.
You still play with the controller, I assume. It's just
you can just sync
it like a screen.
Exactly, yeah. And it works better if you're on the same network. But like I did it at work one time just to show it off, and it worked pretty decent there too. So
it's a good idea when Anna is watching Law and Order, and I just want to play The Last of Us.
Bingo. Sarah was watching a new show called Boot Camp or something. It's like the stars
I feel like I've seen ads for it, so I don't know what it's called, but I know what you mean. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and she was doing that, and I was playing it on the laptop, and it worked really well. It's awesome.
Nice. Cool.
I wanted to get Midnight Suns, which is the Firaxis Marvel game.
Yeah, the XCOM guys, right? That did that one.
Yeah. But I didn't, just because I knew I would just want to play God of War.
Right.
So just one game at a time, I guess.
Don't be like me and get 10 things gifted to you for Christmas, and then you play one of them and 9 stay in shrink wrap forever type of thing. So
yeah,
I do want to try that one at some point myself because
I'm a big XCOM guy.
It looks
I love
cool.
I
like that strategy type of game. But that one's it's card based too, right?
Yeah, so it's like XCOM, but it's a little bit different.
A little bit different. Marvel shit seems cool.
I watched M3GAN, and I think that's about. No, I've been watching The Last of Us.
Man. 4 eps I think are in the wind right now.
Behind one episode.
Okay, so you watched the first 3. All right, I've watched 0 so far. I'm sucking on that front. So
incredible show. Highly recommend it.
I've heard nothing but good things, so I'm keen to jump in. It's just finding the right headspace
awesome.
to begin with. I think it just feels like it's going to be a
very heavy
kind of show. Yeah,
but incredible, very good. And I think that's about it, really.
Okay.
We had we had the anatomy scan with little baby B.
B.
And he's got he appears to be very healthy. He's good. Kicking frequently. And yeah, so that's what I got. It's everything I got, really. Besides Marvel Snap. There's always Marvel Snap. Anyways, what have you been up to, man?
I have been trying to watch a few television shows. I'm trying to make good on my I didn't watch enough TV in 2022 kind of thoughts that I had when we recorded our year in review. So I've been trying to go back and catch up on some stuff and watch some new stuff. So yeah, I'm sucking on The Last of Us front, but I would have said this, I think, on the last episode when we talked about it briefly, but I have watched 2 episodes of Poker Face. I think there are 4 or 5 that are out right now. That's the Rian Johnson case of the week kind of thing with Natasha Lyonne. It's very good. Really, really well shot. And it's kind of interesting. The whole thing, basically, if you might have watched the trailer, I can't remember. But basically, she can tell when people are lying. And so she kind of gets embroiled. And, like I said, a case of the week where she just gets involved and has to, solve some sort of mystery kind of thing. And she's not like a cop. She's not really like a detective or anything like that. She's just kind of like a random fucking person that just pops up different settings for a particular reason. But I'm really enjoying it, and I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes in terms of the ongoing storytelling and just like where it takes the new settings and stuff like that. So definitely want to watch more of that. Really well done. I have been, in terms of catching up on stuff, I really wanted to catch up on Barry. And so
Nice.
It has been quite literally, I think, 5+ years since I watched anything from Barry, because that's how long ago season 1 was. So I actually am going back through season 1 because it's been so fucking long since I watched it. So there was a night where Anna had some of her friends over and I was just stuck in the room. I didn't have anything to do, and I watched 5 episodes of Barry. I watched 5 episodes from season 1. I've watched 1 more since then, so I've seen 6 episodes of season 1 of Barry. So I've got 2 more to wrap it up, and then I'll be like moving on to new stuff for me. I didn't watch season 2 when it came out. Definitely didn't watch season 3 when it came out. So I'm like really looking forward to getting into it because I'm just reminded of how good of a fucking show Barry is.
It's pretty incredible.
So I'm really, really digging that. And we're trying to catch up on Andor as well. I've watched 3 episodes of Andor now, which is 2 more than last time we recorded, I think. So that 3rd episode is kind of where shit hits the fan, I think, a little bit more with... it's when like the security forces come down to the planet and they're trying to, capture Cassian, and they get fucked up real good. I enjoyed it. Yeah, it was fucking cool. The fucking Scottish guy, as soon as he showed up, I just lost it. The way the guy's talking, I was like, Jesus fucking Christ, what's with this guy? And not even because he's Scottish, mind you. Just this man has multiple frogs in his throat when he speaks. Incredible stuff. But I'm excited to see where it goes. Stellan Skarsgård's introduction, and that was well done. And just like, it kind of feels like, all right, the show is going to kind of build out from here and kind of go in a different direction, which I kind of know that it has like arcs and stuff. So But that Scottish guy was ridiculous. Fucking ridiculous.
Like Andor's just suddenly on the island that they were at in the Banshees of Inisherin or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Wrong country. But other than that, yes.
Yeah, whatever. It's just the accents.
Right. Yeah.
That's funny.
Just transported to a different world. But yeah, Andor seems really cool. Really well shot. I like the kind of ground and realistic production aspects of it. It doesn't feel volumey. It doesn't feel digital or anything in the way that a lot of the other Star Wars shows have. I think Mando does a good job with it. Boba Fett did, and Kenobi, I think, did. But they were less successful, I think, getting away from kind of the glossy aspects of shooting with the volume. So looking forward to more Andor. I've got still, 9 more episodes? Wasn't 12 episodes for the season or something like that?
Yeah,
so
I think so.
It's a good long haul, but it feels like I'm kind of getting hooked into it more. It felt like the first 2 episodes were a little slow moving. Third episode kind of picked up steam a little bit, I thought. Oh, and the thing with when they were in the fucking factory or the warehouse and all the ship kept falling around and like I don't know, it was a cool set piece.
Yeah.
That was neat. So yeah, other than that, started a new game called Fire Emblem Engage, which is the newest entry in the Fire Emblem series. It's pretty cool. It's pretty fucking anime in terms of the character designs and writing and stuff, but it's also very Fire Emblem-y, and I'm a big fan of the Fire Emblem series. I loved Three Houses, which was basically like a Fire Emblem and Persona matchup in terms of how like you were like a teacher and you were at the school and stuff like that. This is a lot more traditional Fire Emblem in terms of there's one linear path that you can take, and you kind of just pick up characters along the way. But the actual gameplay of it's really cool. It's pretty traditional Fire Emblem gameplay, turn-based, grid-based strategy games. So cool stuff. I'm enjoying it. I think I'm about 5 hours in. So definitely want to play more of it. And I'm still trying to finish up The Last of Us Part 1. There's almost the part of my brain where I'm like, well, I don't really want to I've played the original Last of Us, but I almost want to experience the game story before I go back and kind of see how the show adapts things, interprets it. Yeah. So, my goal is to beat the game before I finish season 1 of the series. I don't need to not watch it until I'm done with the game. But I don't want, I kind of want to have it fresher in my mind by the time they get to theoretically the end of those events, assuming that season 1 is roughly game 1, which I think is kind of what they said is what they're trying to do with it. So yeah, I think that is it for me. Are you ready to wrap this one up?
Yeah, let's wrap it up, man.
All right. A little M3GAN goodness. Some DC. We talked about DC for a while, to be fair. It's kind of a lot DC of stuff to talk about, episode, though. But there was a lot. There was a lot to capture there, that's for sure. So yeah, good episode. Good start to 2023, I think, anyway. So thank you all for listening. If you're here, taking this episode in, if you enjoyed what you heard, spread the word to friends, family, creepy killer dolls. Let them know. Maybe they'll check it out. Patreon.com/watchreviewrepeat gets you early access to all of our regular episodes, as well as time exclusive access to bonus episodes that we work on this year. Websites, watchreviewrepeat.com, and our social medias, we're on Twitter @WRRpod, on Facebook, facebook.com/watchreviewrepeat, and Instagram @watchreviewrepeat. Questions, comments, suggestions, watchreviewrepeat@gmail.com. Feel free to email in. Intro and outro tracks, Mechanolith by Kevin MacLeod and Incompetech.com, licensed under the Creative Commons by Attribution 3.0 license. Our next episode. So I forgot to say something really important, and I didn't know where to put it, so I'm just putting it right here. I said something about it, and then I didn't follow up on it, is what I'm saying. They announced a sequel to M3GAN, by the way. I should say that before we wrap this episode up. It's fully official that they're making a sequel. It's going to be called M3GAN 2.0, quite literally. And they announced a release date. I think it's January of 2025. January 17th, 2025 is M3GAN 2.0. Allison Williams and Violet McGraw back in their roles. Same writers coming back on board. So it's happening. It's M3GAN franchise time. So meant to say that earlier. Wanted to say it before the end of the episode. My prediction is we'll cover something else with the podcast before M3GAN 2.0 comes out. It's my bold prediction is that we'll cover some other projects before then. But nonetheless, I think we're going to put it on the calendar personally, come sometime, roughly in the next couple of years, around mid-January, it's going to be M3GAN 2.0 time for us. But in terms of what we're actually covering next, I think we're still about a week away from it coming out, but Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania is probably next on the docket for us, I think, in terms of timeline. Yeah. I don't think there's really anything else until then that is going to demand our attention. So I think that's the way to go. Ant-Man time. Ants. Ant-Man. So looking forward to it. February Marvel movie. Sounds good to me. So until then, I will let Andrew take everyone out.
Take care now. Bye-bye then.
Later's on the Menche. Body, yaddy, yaddy, yaddy.